So we'll have a look at some more questions. This comes from the 2022 HSC Standard 2 Maths paper. Standard 2 Maths paper. So let's have a look at question 6. Question 6. We have, what is 20 minutes to 1/3 of a day expressed as a ratio in simplest form? 20 minutes to 1/3 of a day. Well, first we'll think of 1/3 of a day. A day is 24 hours. It's one day. It's 24 hours. And this, if we break this into thirds, tells us that 1/3 of a day is 1/3 of 24 hours, which is 8 hours. Now, if we think of 20 minutes, this is 1/3 of an hour. And so the ratio will be 1/3 of an hour in ratio with 8 hours. The hour units will cancel here, by the way. They're actually irrelevant. The only things in the ratio that matter here are the numbers. Multiply both of these by 3, and this gives us 1 to 24. So 1 to 24 is the correct ratio, or 24 to 1 if it was asked the other way around. That would be the correct ratio. So 1 to 24 in this case is B. B is in fact the answer here. So now we'll have a look at question 7. So we've got Tian is paid $20.45 per hour as well as a meal allowance of $16.20 per day. What are Tian's total earnings if she works 9 hours per day for 5 days? Okay, so we just need to calculate total income. So she earns $20.45 per hour, $20.45 per hour, and she works 9 hours a day for 5 days. So 9 times 5 is 45. That's how many hours she does in the week. We're assuming there's no overtime here for students who have completed the finance topic. Here, this is just a very simplified example. We're assuming no overtime. So her total income will be $20.45 multiplied by the number of hours, 45 hours, plus 5 lots of the meal allowance. $16.20 times 5. This literally can go in our calculator. 20.45 times 45 plus 16.20 times 5. This gives me, her total income is $1,001.25. Then we have to look for the answer that's closest to this. In this case, it's exactly one of the answers, so this is C. So the answer to this question is C. Just a simple financial calculation. If you get very easy ones in the multiple choice like this, it's often safe to ignore things like overtime or penalty rates or anything like that. They usually start to appear in the longer answer questions. They can appear in these questions, but in this case, we're going to ignore the fact that she's working over 38 to 40 hours a week. There's no overtime consideration in this case. So now let's have a look at question 8. Question 8. So we have, which true bearing is the same as south 48 degrees west? So south 48 degrees west. So this is essentially what this compass direction is telling us. It's telling us to go directly south and then head 48 degrees to the west. So this is south, this will be the 48 degrees, this is west. Now if we convert this to a bearing, it's just going to be whatever this angle is, which must be 90 plus 90 plus 48. So the equivalent bearing will be 90 plus 90 plus 48, which will be 228 degrees. So the answer is C. This notation for directions of south something west or north something east or something like that, this is a slightly unusual notation, particularly in mathematics. You see it in other places. Usually in mathematics, where possible, it's preferable to use angles. So bearings are a more direct form of angles, but you do see this, right? It is a form that is used in, say, for example, the aeroplane industry and aeronautics. Planes often model trajectories based on north, south. They use degrees and minutes, and they'll say, oh, I'm 17 minutes north of east of this object, and that's how they can locate. So it is used. There are people that do use this. In mathematics, we tend to avoid it where possible. So now we have question 9. An object is projected vertically into the air. Its height h, which is in meters, above the ground after t seconds, is given by h equals minus 5t squared plus 80t. For how long is the object at a height of 300 meters or more above the ground? Well, this we can just do from the graph. So we don't actually need to solve this. This one can just be done by looking at the graph. We have something that essentially looks like this. It's a parabolic shape. 300 is up here. So if we draw a line across, it's above 300 in all of this time. Now from our graph we can see that the start is at 6 seconds. So this is 6 seconds. Now my graph here is not to scale. This is just a little example diagram, the thing on the page. And then the end is at 10 seconds. So after 6 seconds, the object gets to 300 meters and then goes above 300 meters. And then at 10 seconds, it gets to 300 meters, but coming down, and then after 10 seconds goes below. So that means there is a 4-second period where it is approximately at or above 300 meters. So the answer to this question must be A. Okay, so last question in this set, we have question 10. Alex purchased 800 shares. The total cost was $2.60 per share. He sold the shares 1 year later for $3.40 each, paid a fee of $24.95 for selling the shares. What profit did Alex make on these shares? Okay, so we have to be very careful with this question. It doesn't actually tell us if he had to pay a cost for buying the shares. Now, for anyone who takes business or economics or anyone interested in this, often when you buy shares, you have to pay. Often when you sell shares, you have to pay. When you buy shares, you not only pay the price of the shares, you often pay a brokerage fee. When you sell the shares, you not only get back the money from the shares, but you have to pay a brokerage fee. Right? So in this question, they've told us that the brokerage fee, the paying fee for buying or selling, only happens when selling. So we have to factor that into our answer. So profit is equal to revenue minus cost. And so we are going to have his revenue, which is $3.40 times 800. 800 minus $24.95. That's the brokerage fee he pays. And then we're going to subtract from this the cost, which is $2.60 times 800. And you could put the brokerage fee, the $24.95, into the cost part if you wanted. This is just the way I'm going to do this, because the revenue is all occurring at the same point, the cost is all occurring at the same point in this model. So this is convenient. It doesn't matter so long as you get the right answer. So we'll put this all in the calculator. So we get 3.4 times 800 minus 24.95. That's all in brackets, and then from this we're going to subtract in brackets $2.60 times 800. And this gives me $615.05. And this is the exact solution. This is B. And this is how we do this. This is one way that we can do this question.